So the general consensus with UFC 310's main event is that Asakura will have an advantage on the feet and that Pantoja will have an advantage on the ground. And a lot of people are picking Pantoja to win by decision or submission through his grappling. But I believe that Pantoja actually has a really good chance to win in the striking. So let's break it down. Pantoja starts by pumping out a jab, he then resets and leaps forward with a left hook. The two attacks kind of blend themselves together, so it disguises it well, and this actually ends up dropping Moreno pretty clean. Now, by no means is Pantoja an exceptionally technical striker, not even close. We see in his fight against Moreno, he's very much a brawler, and in a few sequences he just starts winging hooks together and then chaining them into takedowns. So wing hooks, get into the clinch, and then go for a body lock or go for a double leg. And against Asakura, if he starts getting into these exchanges, clinching and grappling, eventually Asakura is going to start preparing for the grappling in the clinch, and he'll be able to, come in with clinch strikes and just kind of pummel through punches over the top, which is effective. We saw Kyoji Horiguchi do that in their rematch. So just something to note. And just here we see Pantoja coming with a jab. He misses a right hook, but he doesn't really care because, again, he uses that to leap forward into a left hand, which he lands. In the Moreno fight, we got to see a lot of his pure boxing, and it's very clear that he uses a lot of hooks on the insides, and he does actually work behind the jab pretty well. It's a shame he doesn't use it more often, but he's, a pretty versatile striker. Like, he's got good hooks, good body shots, he mixes things up, he'll go for uppercuts or work in clinch strikes and knees. He has a lot of different weapons on the feet, and it's very impressive. And in the Brandon Royval fight, we see a bit more of that. Now, Pantoja versus Brandon Royval 2. So, Royval and Asakura share a similarity. It's that they have a very, very wide stance, and they're pretty open defensively. In the striking, they're both very offensive strikers. So, with the long stance, Pantoja goes to the leg kick quite a lot in this fight, and it's very successful. He does against Moreno as well, but the hooks will end up going back to the leg kick, but he was more focused on getting in close and taking the back. Against Royval, just went and playing a range, he went to the leg kick, he even went to a lot of body kicks, just really mixing up the kicking game. But also, he was timing Royval's entries, which is very important. So Royval, he starts stutter stepping. He does that little twitch thing that he does, right? And he tries to come up with almost like a knee or a front kick, and Royval times just a nice right hand down the center, just moving back, waiting, and then cracking with the right hand. And then in another exchange as well, Royval gets up off the ground, they go back in, Royval overswings with a jab, and again, Pantoja, right hook over the top, gets Royval very, very jelly-legged. Pantoja looked very good in this fight, primarily in the grappling, but I think a lot of people underrated how his striking looked in this fight as well. Now let's take a look at some of Asakura's fights. See, in his rematch against Kyoji Horiguchi, he actually got knocked out in the first round, and Horiguchi is Pantoja's training partner, and him and Pantoja have trained a lot together this camp, specifically for Asakura. So just keep in mind that some of the strategies that Horiguchi used, Pantoja will most likely attempt to use as well. So Horiguchi immediately starts slamming down the low kick really, really hard, every single time. At some points he's even going shin to shin, but it doesn't matter because Asakura is literally healing over at the low kicks every single time, and he pulls out of the way of some of them. But when you're such an aggressive fighter, you do kind of have to give up some ground when it comes to damage, and he just could not take the leg kicks. And Horiguchi is not a big, powerful, he's an extremely small flyweight, and Asakura's a bantamweight, but he was still doing significant damage with the kicks. And so because Horiguchi and Pantoja are going to try and grapple, Asakura's going to try and lower his stance and widen it, which makes it easier to low kick. Now, these low kicks eventually made it harder for Asakura to avoid punches. We see here that Horiguchi lands a nice left hook over the top. Now, Asakura goes for a last-ditch flying knee, a move I expect him to use against Pantoja as well, or a knee to the body, something of that nature. Horiguchi then clinches, doubles up with the right hand, and drops Asakura badly. And when I was talking about how Pantoja, he'll strike or go hooks to the body, hooks to the head, then he'll clinch and he'll go to body. Like, I feel like if Pantoja starts mixing that in with punch, 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 goes for a takedown, then comes back up top with punches again, he's a real good chance of hurting Asakura. Now just a brief exchange here when he was knocked out by Manel Cap. Asakura being very aggressive, they start brawling. Asakura tries to double up on a left hook. That's probably one of the worst strikes to double up on, as the left hook leaves you open for right straights down the middle. And that's exactly what Cap hits him with, just a nice 1-2 down the pipe. I don't expect Pantoja to do something like that. I feel like if Asakura's initiating a brawl, he's either going to match that energy in the striking and slug leather, or he's going to go under and shoot for a takedown. But just something to note, that Pantoja probably can hurt Asakura, and there's a lot of avenues for him to do so. The jab's going to be good, the body shots I even think will be successful, the hooks over the top, mixing with the leg kicks, mixing in the clinch strikes, with the grappling, with the exits, just a lot of different weapons that Pantoja can use, which I think will make the fight a lot more even on the feet. And I'm very excited for this fight. I'm, extremely hyped to see Asakura in the UFC. I don't think he'll win. I mean, I've had visions, I've had dreams of Asakura, just hitting Pantoja with the right hand and flooring him and then flying kneeing him. But I'm not going to pick a fight based off gut feeling, right? Logically, Pantoja should win. I feel like Asakura will do good in the grappling, and he'll defend well, and he will last. But I feel like eventually when those calf kicks start adding up, the right hands, the left hooks start adding up, he'll slowly start to break down in the 4th and 5th. Maybe a late finish, more than likely a decision, but it'll be a good fight regardless. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the breakdown. Just, something to fill the time before UFC 310, and enjoy the rest of your day.